In this video of the between state, we are going to be looking at a really practical application to build your intuitive confidence and actually know how to listen to yourself and blend that into how you navigate things going forwards. Allow your heart to listen. Hello, I'm Nid, a soul guide, and I love supporting my clients in their own empowerment to tune into their own sense of what's the right choice for them so that they can start to really navigate their own life from that place of balance where it's both logical and sits within this world, but also really listens to their soul so that they can actually really express themselves fully from their soul. And it's mostly my clients that inspire this video to share with you. Because many of my clients will say to me, I don't get that visual in a yoga nidra, or in that practice I don't experience it in that way. And then there's also the differentiation between when you're in a practice and how information downloads and daily life and how things are showing up in daily life. So what can you do to support yourself with building that confidence? Well, number one is to understand that your intuitive senses are just like your normal senses. They can come through in any of your normal senses that you operate in. And we generally only think about eyes, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. But there's actually more than that going on in terms of our really deep sense skills. And that's because of the energy field that you can tap into when you're in that between state. So in that between state, you can tap into what we would call the Akashic field, the quantum field, whatever you want to call it. There's lots of labels. It's just the field of energy moving around. And how you respond as like a little antenna of receptivity is slightly to do with how you're built as a human to experience things in this lifetime as well as at a soul level. So some people might be very clairvoyant, which means that they're really visual. So when you do a practice and you're visualizing things, they can really easily visualize things, and they might love vision boarding, say, as a part of how they create. But other people might say, I don't visualize at all, or it's really hard for me to visualize. And so they may have another sense that is their strength. And actually the majority of us really sense feel into our experience. But also you can be a knowledge person. You know things by talking to other people, kind of like in your process of talking, the knowledge and the wisdom can come through. And so you might be someone who really needs to go out and chat to a lot of people and have conversations for that knowledge to come through. Just as someone else might be really prone to getting smells or taste as a way of getting messages, or you hear it through music because you're very auditory. It doesn't have to be hearing voices as a way of receiving those messages. So you will be attuned yourself to your dominant sense in normal life, how you learn, right? Are you someone who expresses love in one of those 5 love languages? You know, are you someone who expresses it through touch? You're probably then going to be more in tune with feeling as a clair sense. So your intuition will come more through how you feel about things as opposed to seeing or knowing. And I've had clients in the past who they really want to see, they want the visuals, but they're a feeler. And you have to really acknowledge your intuitive guidance comes through your natural skill set. And we often take this for granted. We often don't realize that this is where the information is coming from. But also if you're in an information overwhelm, it's probably also going to be the sense that you will drown out the fastest and the earliest. So in terms of your own habits, take a check-in of where do you generally sense, feel things? Are you a gut person? Are you, which often means you're feeling something? Are you someone who talks things through and works things through? Then you're probably a knowing person. You're bringing knowledge through that conversation. Are you always listening? Are you always looking for signs? These are the ways in which you are going to access that intuitive knowledge. So the exercise for you to do is super simple. We track. So every day, at the end of your day, middle of the day, write down what you have been noticing are the senses and the information that's been coming in. How has it arisen? How does it come to you? And the more you track, the more you're going to become aware of that sense and its activity and awareness, and it will increase the field, because when we track something, we expand our awareness on it, and therefore we expand the abundance of knowledge that comes through in that form. So if you can identify your sense strength, start to track it and see how it's showing up, then every 6 months, review the messages, and you will see a consistency in the messages that come through over that period of time that are guiding you in a certain direction that maybe you're not always listening to, always tuning into, and that will help give you a much clearer sense of how to listen and hear your own intuition and where it's guiding you, how it shows up. In addition, if you do the kinds of practices that I share, like meditate, like breath work, and you add in the kind of messages that come through in those practices, you'll see an extra layer in your tracking that can be guiding you even more in your life. It's so simple. And I'd love to share a fun story of my own personal life of how this changed for me. So I'd always kept journals, but one of the things that I learned with my brain injury was to track my energy as both physical symptoms, cognitive symptoms, things that affected my daily life and my pain management. But also I was tracking energy as in how much energy I just actually had and what affected my energy. And I would note down after meditations things and insights that had come through, and often I would forget them. And then I started looking through those old journals, which is how I was tracking things in journals with other ways of processing information. And I realized that for 2 years, I was receiving messages about a man who was a part of my future. And I had given him a name. I had a lot of information and detail that I was receiving about this relationship, about this path. And then after 2 years, I met him in real life and I knew exactly who he was, because he was this man that I had been receiving guidance and information on that was really specific over a 2-year period. And this is the kind of thing that happens when you track your energy, and in particular when you track the intuitive messages that are coming with that energy, is that you can start to see and know where to place yourself and what the things are that you need to do to be ready for opportunities and great changes and openings in your life. I really hope that you enjoy your tracking and that you can really discover some great things and wisdom from yourself. Make sure you do the check-in and share beneath this video. We'd love to hear how it's opening up your own wisdom and guidance, and how that can really transform the direction that you take your life in. And don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of courage to follow the intuitive messages that you're receiving a lot of the time. And that's why mine had come for 2 years. So it can take time, and it may take quite a lot of courage to take the steps for that intuitive guidance to really manifest in your life. And it's okay if you're slow like me. You might take even longer. It's great. It's the journey of life. But allow yourself to track it, because it's amazing what will unfold. And that looking back every 6 months will really open your mind to how wise you are and how much you can access and the gifts that you have available to you. I hope you've been enjoying this Between States series. In the next video, we're going to be looking at applying energetics of intuition through business decisions, but this is any decision in your life. And I'll be taking you through the figure of 8 journey in making those decisions that can really help us move past just intuitive wisdom, but where it is we can get stuck with intuition and logic and our belief systems, our old stories, all of that can get really caught up in this figure of 8 process. So how is it we can receive the intuition, we can let the heart expand, and we can be courageous and move past our deep fears, so we're really moving from that place of love. So make sure you watch the last video in the Between State series. Much love. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day.